Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be diving in.
So today we're looking at a legal document recently filed.
Yeah, this one's from the U.S. District Court, Southern District of Ohio.
Right. It's a first amended complaint, and it's about alleged constitutional rights violations.
Against an individual, Rodney Hinton Jr., by law enforcement and related entities.
Exactly. He's currently in pretrial detention. Our goal here really is just to unpack the main claims, the legal arguments, without getting lost in the weeds.
Trying to make it clear for everyone listening.
And right off the bat, there's something pretty striking. The plaintiff claims he showed up to his arraignment visibly beaten.
Wow. Okay. That's a really serious allegation to start with. Appearing in court injured, supposedly from custody, that immediately raises questions.
Big question. So let's clarify who's who. Rodney Hinton Jr., he's the plaintiff.
Yeah.
Detained, as we said, at the Hamilton County Justice Center.
Okay. And the defendants?
It's quite a list. The state of Ohio, Cincinnati Police Department, Sheriff Charmaine McGuffey, that's in her official and individual capacity.
Ah, both. That's significant. Suggests they're looking at both policy and personal responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Also, the Hamilton County Justice Center itself, and then some unnamed John Doe officers or officials.
Right. The unnamed individuals often included when specific identities aren't yet known.
So the complaint outlines some, pretty heavy factual allegations. Key things are, he claims he's being held without a conviction or even a proper bond hearing.
Which are fundamental parts of the pretrial process.
And then there's that claim about visible injuries at the arraignment, suggesting physical abuse while in custody.
That connects back to the initial striking point.
Yeah. It also mentions alleged intimidation. It says multiple officers were in court, creating a, quote, fearful atmosphere.
Intimidation in the courtroom itself.
And the overall argument is that how his case was handled, it wasn't by the book. It deviated because of bias, maybe retaliation, and systemic issues.
So the claim isn't just about one mistake, but potentially a pattern or deeper problem, challenging the whole presumption of innocence almost.
Exactly. Which leads into the specific legal violations they're claiming.
Okay, what are they citing?
Well, the 13th Amendment, that's involuntary servitude. The 14th Amendment, due process and equal protection.
The big constitutional safeguards.
Right. And then two federal statutes. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, which is about deprivation of rights under color of law.
A very common basis for these kinds of suits.
And 42 U.S.C. Section 1985, which deals with conspiracy to deny civil rights.
Conspiracy. Okay, so alleging coordination.
Yeah. The plaintiff essentially argues he's trapped in a system that's set up to punish him before he's even had his day in court, legally speaking.
That's a powerful claim about the system itself.
It is. And the complaint breaks this down into 6 specific counts, or claims for relief.
Let's hear them.
Okay. Unlawful imprisonment, conspiracy to deprive rights, excessive force and intimidation.
Covering the alleged physical aspects and the fear factor.
Then, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Breach of oath of office, they call it constitutional malfeasance.
Targeting the official's duties.
And finally, this is interesting, violations of federal rules of criminal procedure.
Ah, the procedural rules. That's specific. What rules are they pointing to?
Good question. They list several. Rule 5A, failure to bring him promptly before a magistrate judge.
That initial appearance is crucial.
Rule 5D, failure to inform him properly about the charges, his rights, or release conditions.
Basic information every defendant should get.
Rule 46A, failure to even consider or offer bail. And Rules 3 and 4, problems with how the warrant and arrest were processed.
So the argument is that these aren't just minor technicalities. These failures had real consequences.
Precisely. The complaint says these violations led directly to, extended unlawful detention, the alleged physical harm, and the broader constitutional injury.
And if you think back to the claim about visible injuries at arraignment, if that initial Rule 5 hearing didn't happen promptly or properly, maybe that's how such a situation wasn't flagged earlier by a judge.
It certainly raises that possibility. So what does Mr. Hinton want?
The relief sought, yeah.
He's asking the court for a declaratory judgment, basically, a formal statement saying his rights were violated. He wants injunctive relief in order for his release pending further proceedings.
The release, okay, and damages.
Yes. Compensatory damages of $5 million for the harm suffered, and punitive damages of $20 million meant to punish the defendants and deter future conduct.
Those are significant figures, but standard to ask for in these types of cases, even if the final amounts awarded, if any, are often different.
Absolutely. And we have to stress, again, these are all allegations laid out in a legal complaint. Nothing has been proven in court.
Crucial distinction. We're just looking at what's being claimed in this document.
So to wrap up our deep dive today, we've examined a legal complaint detailing some really serious allegations of constitutional violations during someone's arrest and pretrial detention.
Claims ranging from physical abuse and intimidation to fundamental procedural failures under federal rules and constitutional amendments.
And remember, our discussion is based solely on the contents of this filing. We're not taking sides or judging the validity of the claims.
Definitely not. But it does leave you with something to think about, doesn't it?
What's that?
Well, just consider the gravity of what's alleged here. If claims like these are substantiated, what are the potential ripples? Not just for the individual involved, Mr. Hinton, but for the wider justice system.
Yeah. What does a document like this, just its existence and the nature of the claims, suggest about the checks and balances we rely on?
Exactly. Something for you, the listener, to mull over. What does accountability look like in situations like these?